felt like I've been going through life kind of blocked, kind of sleepwalking, somewhat stifled. And I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it. I just knew there was more. I needed more vitality, more passion. I just feel like I'm going through the motions, or that's what I felt like. And I knew there was more.
I was very closed. I had no real direction. I never really thought of myself as somebody of self-worth.
I think what Warriors does is lets me see with new eyes, and places that I thought life was fine, I look back now and realize it wasn't so fine. You know, I think I like a lot of us, had gotten used to living in a certain kind of malaise. One of the Warriors' phrases is to wake up, is to be awake.
The biggest thing for me there was learning that although I thought, you know, I have a good capacity to love, and I've always been that kind of a person, that I was giving love conditionally, and I didn't know that.
I was thinking about, you know, how so much of my life is wrapped up on my skills and what I am capable of doing, because my inner self was so insecure that I didn't have anything to offer as a person. So therefore I had to look what I can do on this instrument, or look what I can write, or look what I can, these exterior things.
I had a lot of responsibility in my life. I still have a lot of responsibility in my life. But before, I did not know how to handle it. I couldn't cope with the pain and the shame before.
You know, there's so much phony, quiet, glamorous Hollywood machismo that we look to for a masculine role model.
You know, I wasn't around men. The men that were in my life were pretty abusive. You know, my uncles. So I never had any real connection with men and how to be a man and those kinds of things. So
I didn't have a lot of men friends, and I've always kind of shied away from hanging out with guys. Really, I don't know, just for whatever reason. And part of it was, I think I didn't really feel like I fit in.
I used to be so afraid of life, of things, afraid of making a mistake. Again, a father wound was addressed. That I always thought every kid, you know, everyone had a dad, and the dads did their best, but I never really sat down and thought of how it affected me, and even as a man now, how my coping mechanisms are so immature. As a child, I developed these coping mechanisms just to get by, and now as an adult, I no longer have to have those same coping. They don't work anymore.
I'd love for my father to go because I want to connect with him. I know he has a good heart, he's a good man, but he never had a father in his life. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of was just repeating itself, and I think he would love it. I know he wants to connect with me and my brothers, and he's even said that. He says he knows he's lost our life together growing up.
Our fathers didn't know, their fathers didn't know, and somebody's got to break the chain, and somebody's got to be held accountable and say, my kids are going to grow up strong. My kids are going to grow up knowing that their father was there for them, fully present, awake for them.
And I think I'm a better father for it going through this weekend. Again, more clarity of mind and heart, and it's making hard decisions easier to make, actually. I'm learning to accept wisdom from others and actually being more vulnerable to ask for not necessarily help, but input.
I think fear is a part of life, and now I'm becoming able to identify it. And I think when you can identify it and understand it, and you can nurture it, and it can be your friend, and you look at it and you say, you're not going to get in my way. I'm gonna strive for what I want and what I need and what makes me happy.
I just felt completely different. It wasn't there anymore. Those weird feelings of, you know, me, and I played with my kids. Hugged my wife like it was the first time. I've been with her for 22 years, you know, married for 19. So I gained things that I never even knew I didn't have. So that's amazing, really amazing.
When I got home, the first thing I did was I went into my mother's room and I woke her up and I told her that I loved her and I gave her a big hug. And she looked at me in my eyes and she started to cry. And she told me that I've never told that to her before. So it was a big change for me.
And the only other thing I would say is I think that Warriors was certainly one of the most significant events of my life. That weekend was outside of my faith, it was the single most important weekend of my life.
It's like a mini weekend. Men, in a safe manner, with full trust, are able to share deep things that they can't ordinarily share in any given day because of work, family.
I think that the most significant thing for me was joining a community of men. So it's opened up my connections to men after the weekend because of iGroups, because it's continuing ongoing participation in Warriors. I mean, it's not like it's a weekend and it's over.
Once a week we meet, and it's a time that we can let our hair down, our masks off, and be real. And we love and accept each other for that, and there's that strength and love in that.
I can put some perspective on things and say, okay, this is what has happened, this is what has occurred, and this is what I can do. And I don't have the fear. I mean, it's so amazing, the feeling of not having the fear and the shame and the guilt. It just changes your life. It changes your life.